All right, I know some of you are saying, just carry a pocket knife for an EDC. Well, here's the problem with that. I cannot carry, I've tried over and over, I can't carry a clip pocket knife, the clip sticking out of your pocket there. It's right up against there, it doesn't matter. Every single time I'll walk by the counter, walk by the table, catches on something, springs that clip out, then it doesn't even stay in the pocket anymore. I'm done with that. Just doesn't work. Traditional pocket knife, that's a little better, but you carry that around in your pocket for a little bit and it gets all filled up with lint and dirt and crud, especially with what I do here in the blade shop, all the abrasives and just dust and everything. That's just no good. So quite frankly, the only realistic and good option for me is some form of a fixed blade everyday carry knife. Are you carrying, making, or selling the perfect EDC everyday carry knife? Well, this segment of the show is designed to have a conversation around a cup of coffee about some topic that will help you as a aficionado, a collector, maker, or even professional knife maker appreciate, build, and sell high quality custom blades. So the question for today's topic is, what makes the perfect EDC blade, everyday carry blade? Are you carrying it? Do you know what it is? Do I know what it is? This is a topic that I've thought about a fair amount over the years, and I think anybody who makes knives and enjoys knives has thought about this as well. And it's even possible that the pursuit of the perfect everyday carry or EDC blade has allowed for the multiple purchases of various different blades just to figure out what it is that you're actually looking for. Well, and I had some more time to think about this, and I think I kind of had a light bulb moment over this last week here as I was working on some other knives here. I had this little knife sitting around, this blade sitting around for quite a while. I'd work on it a little bit here and there. What happened was, over a year ago, I think, I had a custom order for a bowl cutter, sort of a square shaped blade, bigger than this, although this would be a decent size, I suppose, with my ball bearing Damascus pattern welded steel that I make with the concentric, just even, you can see the pattern on there. Instead of just a random pattern, you've got that honeycomb looking shape, kind of cool. So I forged this billet up and it was too narrow. It ended up being too narrow for the blade that I had to build. So I kind of made a little blade out of it, set it aside, and went on with the custom order, got that completed. Along the way I heat treated this, then I ground it a little bit later, and then a little bit later I hand sanded it, and finally I etched it. And then just this last week I put a handle on it. I put those scales back a little further just so that you could see more of the pattern. And I probably wouldn't have done that except for that fact, but it's still a very comfortable, nice little grip. Now this knife is not, it's nothing groundbreaking or even terribly special. The design is a nice all-purpose design. The handle is big enough to hold on to with a 3-finger grip, and the elk antler it's a neat looking handle, and it's comfortable and secure to use. But there's nothing specifically, groundbreaking or different about this knife compared to a lot of other ones. But what I did this time that I've never done before is I built a sheath that accommodates this knife in a way that I've never personally carried a knife before. And I'm sure that other people have carried a knife like this before. I originally attempted to carry this right in front of my gut here, and it just really was not comfortable. Now this sheath's still a little bit rough, but it was a concept sheath here that I just put together real quick while I was building some sheaths for another batch, the Nesmucks actually. And I wet formed it a little bit so it's got some good fit, and then the straps here are obviously conformed as well. And after it dried out, I carried it around a little bit on the front of my belt. And I don't know if this is quite the right design for a angled carry cross draw type sheath, but I did not find it comfortable. This angle is a little bit too steep, I guess, and this kept digging into my gut, so that didn't seem to work out so great. But then I moved it over around to my left side you know, just behind, you know, the center line here, and the way it fits back there worked pretty good. I carried it around for a little while, and for a couple days actually. I didn't even know it was there. Now there's a lot of things about an EDC knife that could be said that might lend to its serviceability, or you know, something that would put it in that category of the perfect EDC knife. Now obviously I know there's no perfect EDC knife, because everybody is going to have a little bit different preferences, and your perfect EDC knife is not going to be my perfect EDC knife, and vice versa. Excuse me. But the light bulb that happened for me was quite simply the fact that for me, the single most important factor for an EDC knife is how easily it's carried. And that's not a very fancy way to say it, but for the longest time, I didn't carry a knife. You know, as a knife maker, quite frankly, sometimes you get knifed out a little bit anyway. That's a funny way of saying it, but like, you don't have the same, like, I get a lot of enjoyment out of building knives for other people, and knowing that people are out there using them and benefiting and enjoying, benefiting from them and enjoying them. That's kind of the biggest kick I get out of knives these days. Not so much as somebody who uses and enjoys them, although I still do that too. But anyway, I didn't carry a knife really for a long time. The only knife I carried was a little bitty Swiss Army knife, and it comes in handy, but it's pretty tiny, you know. And I would carry a vertical sheath, and I really enjoy carrying a vertical sheath when I'm out in the woods, which haven't been able to do that for a while. But you know, historically, being out in the woods, you know, having that blade at your side for all the different tasks that you would use it for, bushcraft, camping, etc. Having that vertical sheath, that quick access, that you know, that kind of setup, that's what I would use that for. And that's how I've always carried a blade out in the woods. I don't really care for like a scout carry horizontal stuff, because that's usually, you know, at your back, or if you want to sit up against a tree, that's not comfortable. You know, if you've got different stuff, it's just not very comfortable. So sometimes I would carry it on my left side because I'd have a gun, you have my handgun on my right side. And that made sense to me, even though the blade was backwards, it didn't really matter. I could grab it with my left hand. So that was kind of what happened in this case. And you know, at first glance, me being right-handed, this really is not the most accessible. And I was trying to focus on accessibility at first with this sheath. But then when I moved it back over here, didn't change the design of the sheath at all. I just moved it back over here. Accessibility became second place on the priority list, but carryability went right to the top of the list, and I have been really happy with it. And why is that important? Well, the reason that's important is the same concept that you hear if you talk about carrying a personal defense tool. And honestly, with the crazy, insane stuff that continues to happen as our culture becomes more and more perverse, that's something that's been on my mind a little bit more. Man, you know. And also, on a side note, being in Texas, you know, you kind of, I don't want to get into it, you kind of expect, you know, so there's got to be more people that are ready to step in the gap. And you know, as horrible as it is, that's the world we live in today. And so now I'm getting off into a tangent, but the point is that if you don't have it with you, you don't have it. You know, if it's in the door pocket, if your tool of any sort is in the door pocket of the car and you need to use it for whatever you need to use it for, you don't have it. And so really this is a concept that goes in the same vein when it comes to the personal defense tools, but it's the same thing with an EDC. It's better to have it. It's better to have an inferior or smaller or, you know, less capable tool. It's better to have that than to have the really great one that's not there when you need it. It's just how it is. So the light bulb moment again for me was what makes an EDC perfect EDC, and I submit to you that the perfect EDC is one that is as close to effortlessly carried as possible, with the most comfort, the most the one that you put there and you don't even know it's there until you need it. And that's what I've kind of been experiencing with this setup. So I'm really happy with this concept, and not that I don't have enough ideas to and stuff to make, but this is probably going to have to be something that we pursue. Like I said, is this the perfect knife? This is not the perfect knife. There's no perfect knife, but it will be a heck of a lot better in any situation using it to cut rope. You know, I was barbecuing some ribs, just separated those out. Nice, you know, for a small knife, it worked great. Skin out a deer, you could actually do it with this. This would be plenty adequate for dressing out most parts of dressing out a deer. Definitely small game too, but you know, if you're at the steakhouse and their knives are miserable, all you got to do is pull out your own, keep it off of that ceramic plate, but just slice up some nice cubes there. Whatever you need to do with it. The point is that you actually have it with you, and it's out of the way until you need it. So I guess there's a couple of different concepts that are kind of gelling here. Some unfortunately, I suppose, but that's just the reality of excuse me, that's just the reality of where we're at today. I didn't really mean for this to go that direction, but I think that it's a very valid concept. So, is your EDC invisible until you need it? Like, is it in your mind not even there until you need it? And that's the question that I would ask you. If you have the perfect EDC, could this blade be, you know, I envision this blade, it could be a little wider. I don't think it could be much longer though. I don't think it could be much longer, because pretty soon it's going to start sticking up higher on the belt line or down further. And as soon as you start, you know, moving and twisting around, sitting down in the car, it's a secure fit. It's right there. All right, guys. Well, that's what I have for you today. I guess the takeaway concept is, in my mind, currently the most important aspect or feature of an everyday carry blade is that it melts into the background of your daily life until you need it. You don't even know it's there until you need it. And that way you actually have it. Maybe it's not the most effective tool for every single task out there, but you have it and you can use it, and that's the whole point. So hopefully this little segment, little show was beneficial and enjoyable for you guys, and in some way helped you appreciate, build, or sell a high quality custom blade. See you on the next one.